Welcome EO Dallas to Connecting the Journey. As y'all remember, let me redo that, Trey. Welcome EO Dallas to Connecting the Journey, where we take a little bit of time to look back. As entrepreneurs, we're always looking forward. We're always looking to that next greatest, biggest thing, and very seldom do we slow down and take a look back and really be in those moments and understand the things that we went through to get to where we are today in order for us to move forward with a full heart of gratitude and appreciation. Speaking of which, I'm very excited to have my good friend Vince here, president of Rapid Pro Development since 1994. Vince is an EO alumni member. He is tenured in EO, was from 97 to 2008.
Right.
Yeah. All right. And so very excited to spend some time with Vince, learn about his journey, learn about his EO journey, and tell some good stories about that. And
lots of stories.
Lots of good stories. Doing this program, it's been very interesting to see the evolution of EO before I got here. And so there, you think you have your own journey, your own story of EO, but there's a lot more that happened before. So excited to jump into that.
Yeah, great. Good to be here. And thanks for doing this. It's great that we can do a retrospect for older members and newer members, of course.
I tell you, very selfishly, this is my happy place. I really enjoy doing this, learning from people, hearing about people's journeys. And I think it's good because I think that there's a lot of EO members that have been in EO for a while that maybe they're in a different phase in their journey and they want to get back reconnected. Yeah. I think our good friend Rick Sapio emphasized that point. We're actually here in this room when he spoke to everybody, and there's a lot of older EO members and like, man, I heard a lot of like, man, I just really like being around my people. And so that's the goal of this, is just to give back and spend some time with you and learn from your journey, and hopefully it inspires another entrepreneur.
Well, hopefully I got something for you.
I think you got it. I think you got a lot of good stuff. I've told people we were going to have you on the show, and everybody's kind of eyes lit up, and they're like, "Oh, that's going to be awesome!" So cool. Excited to jump in, man. So look, we start with a very basic question here. Every time is like, where did it all start? Where'd you grow up with? Where'd you grow up at? What beliefs? Kind of started you and your entrepreneur journey. So what was childhood like?
Well, I'm a Canadian, and so...
I'm so sorry.
Well, you're protecting the wrong border.
Jesus, what happened? No, love Canadians, man.
Yeah, we're taking over.
Lots of EO Canada stories. Those guys are crazy.
I was really, I guess that entrepreneurial gene starts real early. You're trying to think of where I could make some dough, have my own cash to burn, and I love skiing, and I started financing my own skiing when I was 16 or so. Going down to Banff and Jasper and with my buddies, and borrowing my mom's car, and so at the time getting jobs here and there, but I realized, why don't I own the company? So during college I had a video production business, and VHS was a new innovation at the time.
It was a new hot thing.
Oh man, and I figured out how to edit through VHS and videotape weddings to make $500, $600, $700.
There you go.
And at a time, and there's a lot going on. You got to know lighting, you got to know sound, you got to know, how to sell it.
Not to be there, you got to be behind the scenes, and getting all the good shots.
We didn't have, the luxury of editing at that time wasn't possible. So I would do something called crash edits, where I'd make sure I got the right clip, the right period of time. And so when I was porting it over, it was always a second generation VHS. But I would have very little editing to do and give them the finished product. So that whole experience led to being the videographer for the Canadian national wrestling team. That led to a world trip. So I took a year off university and traveled the world. And as we speak, my daughter is a film grad. And she's doing a documentary called In My Father's Footsteps.
Oh, wow.
Taking the exact same tour or trip from Australia, Asia, India, and Europe, and doing a documentary on that. What has happened, what's changed in the last 40 years? I took that trip when I was her age.
That's amazing. Did you journal, take pictures and video while you did that?
Yeah, the journal ended up, everybody has a travel diary or something. I was going, this is bullshit. Why am I writing it down and then sending letters home? So I decided to write the letters home, with a lot of detail.
Oh, there you go.
So my mom kept those letters, sent home 1,500 photographs and slides. And so Bella has digitized all those letters and images. and she's capturing her own. And now she's, as we record this, she's month 10 into this world trip, and she's coming home probably in a month and change. And then it's the editing process, and what in the world has changed in 40 years. And just after that, it was, we can get into that, but the Olympic experience, you know, I ended up deciding I wanted to be an Olympian at 26. And
so that's amazing. Your daughter, how old is your daughter?
she's 23.
Okay. That's going to be really freaking cool.
Yeah. The working title is In My Father's Footsteps. So step one for her is to enter it into film festivals, and then if it gets picked up, then if, you know, a lot of ifs there.
Yeah.
But these artists, to be good, have to be entrepreneurs too, right?
You got to hustle. We're talking about the idea for this show, and like you got to, I've some bigger dreams for it, but you got to hustle. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to keep shaking it. Yeah.
It's a little bit of, she's able to do this, and when it turns out to be something big, it's going to be special. What, I was able to do some traveling when I graduated, and, I'm thinking back, isn't it so much different, your daughter being able to travel and you being, what's the communication like versus when you were there?
Oh, yeah.
I can't even imagine my parents, what they went through when I was in Italy or Europe for three months.
Oh, they had no idea.
No idea.
Yeah. Get this. Australia, month number 3, had run into the Australian national parachute champion. And he says, why don't you come to Canberra and I'll teach you how to parachute. So the letter I write home to my parents, it's not going to arrive till 2-3 weeks later, is I'm taking parachute lessons. I jump tomorrow. Love, Vince.
Oh my gosh.
In the mail. And Dad wouldn't even, these long distance calls and collect calls were hundreds of dollars.
Oh,
and so
I remember I had the AT&T calling card memorized, and it was like $4 a minute.
Yeah. Oh, it'll take you down. So, and my dad just said, hell no, call, collect, but we're going to refuse the call just so we know you're okay.
Proof of life is collect, call, Vince. Get what you can get
Do you
in.
accept the call? No.
He's okay. Yeah. So talk to about the parachuting. You told me that you had an incident in a solo jump. Was that there?
Yeah. So at the time, the parachuting was you're on your own with a static line. Jump out of the plane was 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. The static line deploys the main chute. It pops open like that. Then you float down and you want to do it again. So
and the static line is attached to the plane?
Right.
Okay.
And it deploys the main chute. The second jump I was putting on, you're supposed to put on your own chute, and Graham said, well, why'd you put that chute on? I went, I don't know, it was just laying there. He said, well, take that off and put that chute on. And this is Canberra, it's in their summer, and I was like, why, He said, well, I packed that chute that's on the ground. I have no idea who packed the chute you're wearing. So I went click, 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 took that off. Therefore, was last on the plane, first to jump out, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. The static line deploys the main chute, but it ends up being all wrapped up in the ropes. Oh, no. So that morning had taken, it was actually a little bit annoying. He runs you through these emergency procedures, and there's a yellow ring on these piggyback chutes where if you grab the yellow ring with your right thumb and extend that cable, it'll jettison the main chute, so you're back into free fall. Then you take your left hand, grab that cable and extend that, and that will spring out the reserve chute to follow instead of the two getting mixed up. And that moment between the sound of the main chute just going like this, and then that sound of the breakaway, the chute, that sound went away, and then the sound of the reserve chute coming out, making the exact same sound, that sound. That's the only time I've had my life flash before my eyes. It was like, it was just all these memories, just because I knew I was done. I was going to die. But the reserve chute opened, remarkably small, by the way.
Oh, and you're probably at, dropped probably 10,000 feet by then, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever the height. I think we were about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet, but there wasn't a lot of time. But the reserve chute came out. It looked like a beach umbrella. In fact, my memory of it was hit the ground pretty hard, but much better than not having a chute. So anyway, and in fact, Bella was in Australia trying to track this guy down. He's in his 80s. He's still parachuting. They never were able to connect because he was going to some competition in Dubai. So
in his 80s, still jumping out of planes.
He's a stud.
That's awesome.
And she ended up taking these tandem jumps, is what everybody does now initially. The woman who took her on the tandem jump learned from Graham Windsor, this Australian national parachute champion. That's really so a lot of full circle things happening on this world trip of hers, and she's following the letters, and now she has to muscle up and get sponsorship and scholarships and funding, and she's doing the side hustles, doing videos for entrepreneurs for their small businesses, and she's just got to have that hustle gene. She
have people following on social and all that stuff?
Yeah, if you go to inmyfathersfootsteps.org, you'll be able to track her down.
I'm going to check that out, man. That's really, really cool. That's awesome. And how many kids do you have?
3. She's the youngest. The 2 older ones, they're both entrepreneurs. They're all 3 of them are entrepreneurs. The oldest, Max, is a musician. He went to Booker T. And now he's trying to break through. Really quality music. His band's called About You. So
nice.
His branding, this is a little lesson he picked up along the way, is that he wants the music to be about you. Musicians talk about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Or sing about themselves. Well, Max actually has the songs that are written by, the words are stories that people send in. And then Alex, our middle child, she's in her mid-20s, and she's an entrepreneur as well. She's right in the throes of selling a crypto company that she started. It's basically like Acorns, but they round up.
Okay.
And she's got another thing she started in college. She went to Penn, to Wharton. So
they got the bug.
They're all entrepreneurs. If we have any parents out there watching this, the one parenting tactic we used was, instead of stroking a check, is we would ask a question. It was, they want to do this. And it's like, well, how are you going to do that? So they started their summer camp in the backyard. Max was busking in downtown New York at one point. I mean, they just get out and hustle. You want to do something, how are you going to figure that out?
Yeah, I started that with I got about to be 15 and 13. It was, early on it was, we'll pay for half of them. We'll pay you to read books and write a book report on it. And then it was like, we'll pay for half of it, but you got to go earn the rest. And he's knocking doors and washing cars. And so that'll be his story about how he had a little wagon and a one wheel and went around and washed cars. And I'm like, dude, it's pretty sweet. You make $400 in a weekend as a 15-year-old. That's pretty good. He's got no fear of knocking doors either.
Yeah.
So
I heard a term the other day. It was called, we've all heard of helicopter parenting. Well, another one is snowplow parenting, and it's just paving the way, making sure it's all clear for them. And there's times when you need to help them. There's times they get in a bind.
Yeah.
But generally, switching from statements to questions and how you're going to do that has been really tried and true.
That's a good one. Yeah, making them think. Yeah, I'm more of the ripcord parenting. Drop you in and figure it out early.
Have a nice trip.
We'll be here to help you, but you're going to have to fail a few times and figure it out.
Yeah, got to watch it happen.
Speaking about younger, one of the things you wrote down was that meditation was very key to you at an early age of 14 years old, right after your hair started turning white at 12.
Right.
Was that a genetic thing, or what caused that?
I went and visited relatives on that world trip when I was 21, and all my Irish side of my relatives were all white-haired, and I went, aha!
There it is.
There it is. And so, the hair started turning white bit by bit at 12. And it's just been...
You've been a silver fox for a while.
For a long time.
Well, how'd you get introduced to meditation?
My mom and dad, but mostly my mom, was always, how can I help the kids? What can we do? And at the time, the Beatles and Shirley MacLaine were all into TM, Transcendental Meditation. And it was an inflection point in my life. Like, up until then, in fact, I remember in second grade, the teacher had talked in the classroom, in the room where all the teachers are. And she said, and pardon my translation here, but she said, Vince Poscente is borderline retarded. She used that word. That wasn't back then. unawareness. Anyways, my mom flipped out. And so school to me was torture. And then I learned how to meditate at 14, and then everything got easier. Everything.
Was it the ADHD? Why was it torture for you?
Maybe it was AD. There was no diagnosis at the time.
But I mean, just attention, couldn't focus on it, or just
couldn't focus on it. TM is, I think of it as a snow globe. And I think of the brain as there's smart flakes in our snow globe. And if we stop shaking it for 20 minutes and just allow those flakes to settle, they settle where they need to be.
That's a good one.
And I mean, I wrote a book called The Age of Speed because we're trying to get more done in a period of time. Well, the advent of email or the iPhone even, well, you get more done. Well, guess what? You just multiplied your to-do list by 10.
Yeah.
So now we got all this stuff and busy work, and I still meditate today. I mean, it's less doing and more being, and that's maybe sounds woo-woo, but it allows those smart flakes to settle where they need to be.
That's a great analogy. I haven't heard that. I have not heard that. That's a great analogy of that. What's your practice like now?
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah. 20 minutes in the morning, just after I wake up, before I eat. And then about that time in the afternoon when I feel like I'm crashing, about 4 p.m., meditate again for just 20 minutes. And
guided or self-guided?
They've got a mantra, and they give it to you, and you're not supposed to tell anybody what it is. I just, to this day, don't know why they say that. But I guess. Anyways, repeating that mantra, and what happens in TM or meditation, a thought will occur. Then you're thinking about that thought, and your eyes are closed, and you go, oh, wait a minute, I'm not doing my mantra. Then you let go of the mantra, you go back to, you let go of the thought, whatever's distracting you, and you go back to the mantra. And that's why they call it transcendental meditation, because eventually you transcend to non-thought. There's a lot we don't understand. I mean, at birth, we're born with 120 billion active neurons. And over time, we figure out pathways. And as adults, we end up with 10 billion active neurons, meaning we have 110 billion dormant neurons in our brain that we're not using anymore. But we've learned very efficient ways to use those neurons.
Through those pathways that are just
through the pathway. Well, how to pick up a pen or a piece of paper, everything. And these pathways, of course, we're creatures of habit, and then that kind of fixed mindset starts to set in. And I mean, there's just so much opportunity and creativity, and it just made a massive, massive difference in my life, and I just wouldn't trade it for anything. And we were just talking about Jerry Seinfeld before we went live here, and he's been a meditator for decades.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I have the challenge in my life of being able to do something every day and make it a habit. It's very tough for me to do that, but I swear every time I meditate, I'm like, God, why don't I do this every day?
Yeah.
And so, you said this came to you at 14, and looking at my son, and he surely needs to slow things down. And we meditated when he was younger, but he couldn't really fully understand. We just did it at night for him to help sleep. And so as I was reading over the show notes, I think I'm going to take that back to my son and say, okay, let's just, let's set aside a time and let's do it together. And
well, they got courses. I mean, and there's all sorts of courses. Online, you'll have all sorts of proxy stand-in techniques or whatever. TM to me. They've thought it through. They took 5,000 years of history in India, distilled the meditation down. This guy named Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who's since passed away, but he brought it over to North America, and he said, here's a technique. It's worked for millennia, and they teach you how to do it. So we taught all our kids how to meditate.
Yeah, I bet you it's been impactful. And so is there a difference between TM and just a guided meditation?
Probably not a huge difference. Okay. It's different means to the same end.
Yeah. Just inner peace, quiet, listening to
Allow
yourself.
Those smart flakes to settle where they need to be.
That's a really good one. I look at, psychedelics is coming back, and I have a similar analogy of that, we have these pathways, these neural pathways that are just cut like a ski run, right? And we
Yeah.
take the easiest way down,
Right.
and having a journey is like a fresh set of snow that covers all those, and anything's
That's great.
possible now.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
very similar. Speaking of skiing,
Yeah.
that was obviously a big part of your life. You said when you were younger, you needed some hustle money to go skiing with your buddies. Obviously, that was a big part of your life. So what was your skiing journey like?
Yeah, so at 16, in earnest, was skiing for probably the next 10 years recreationally. And but then I had actually raced in luge for a couple years, because this experience of being the videographer for the Canadian national wrestling team at the Commonwealth Games in Brisbane, on that world trip that Bella's taking, is redoing or replicating now. I was fascinated by the Olympic movement and international sport marketing, got a degree in sports marketing. So, and I also overlay that with, at 16, a friend had died. And we all have these moments where we make decisions, these moments of intense emotional intensity, defining moments.
Yeah.
And at 16, with this friend passing away, I realized I got to try everything at least once, right? So that's why I had tried luge later on, probably about 22, and then quit. And I was living in Calgary, living out the dream as a sports marketing guy for the sport of luge, with the host broadcaster at the Olympics in Calgary. And then all my buddies that I'd been racing with in luge who didn't quit were in the Olympics, and I was holding a ticket at 26 years old. And I went, no. Like, so often we think, well, what do you want to create as an entrepreneur? What do you want to build? What do you want to be a part of? But it's a fact that a lot of the big decisions we make in life is made out of discomfort.
Yeah.
Like, entrepreneurs start a business because this isn't working this way.
Right.
Why do I have to call a taxi to have them wait and give me attitude and all this stuff when I can, why don't I have an app? Why don't I have an app that I press a button and the car shows up where I am?
Yeah.
Uber, right? So somebody had discomfort of what wasn't working.
Exactly.
And that discomfort at the opening ceremonies in Calgary was, I am not going to my grave not knowing if I could have done the same thing. I'm just not. So that is why at 26 I started ski racing. Chose speed skiing because it would be in the Olympics in Albertville 4 years after Calgary.
Okay.
And I'd learned the value of mental training in the luge experience. And so, but the meditation was just a piece of it, but I just threw myself into research, like mental training strategies, spent less time physical training, and increased the amount of mental training to 2.2 hours per day on average.
Wow.
Biofeedback, sensory deprivation, float tanks, hypnosis programs.
Visualization.
Yeah, visualization and imagery.
Yeah.
Actually, the term I like to use is experientialization, because if you bring in the five senses to what you want to create, what you want to build, then, and it's also coupling that with never having that feeling of regret that I had at that opening ceremony. When you couple discomfort with an aspirational notion, people better get out of the way because it's going to happen.
Wow. So you saw your friends up skiing, and then you're like, no, either that should be me, that could be me, but
I'll never know.
I'll never know if I don't go now.
Last time in my life that I had that level of regret, last time. Because we grow, we mature, and at 26, I maybe a late bloomer, but I realized. So for 4 years, just dialed in on speed skiing. And
so speed skiing, downhill skiing? What's that term?
Yeah, it's downhill. It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds, up to 125 miles an hour in 8 seconds. There's no turns, and the way the winner is declared is the fastest person through the speed trap at the bottom. So all the other ski disciplines have a timing light at the top and the bottom, so the time is recorded. In speed skiing, it's the fastest person through both those timing lights at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And the speed trap is 100 meters long. Think of a football field, and think of crossing that football field in less than a second and a half on skis.
And it's, say, from the 20-yard line to the touchdown is where the speed trap is. Like you're going to build up speed and then...
No. The whole track is, the Olympic track was 2/3 of a mile. But the speed trap that you go through is 100 meters long at the bottom. So that football field in distance, you cross one beam, and then less than a second half later, you cross the second beam.
Wow.
You're hauling ass. Darth Vader style helmets, skin tight rubber suits, fairings. And after 2 years, 2 and change, I was ranked 10th in the world because I put together a mental training program that was unrivaled. And this is something I've used forward as an entrepreneur. In a competitive landscape, everybody's trying to do what the competition's not doing. How can we do this better? How can we create a better widget? How can we improve our service? How can we beat our competition? In this, because there was a deadline, and because in order to race for Canada, or the US for that matter, there's Olympic qualifying standards.
Right.
That's top 16 in the world. If you're not 17th place or 16th place or higher, you're not going to the Olympic Games. So I had no ski race experience, knew nothing about ski racing, was a recreational skier, and knew that I had to be in the top 16
in the world
in a short period of time, which then had me go, well, I could not possibly catch up to guys that have been racing for 20, 25 years. But in a heartbeat, you can do what the competition's not willing to do.
Work harder.
No,
Smarter.
not work harder. Work smarter. Yeah, that's smarter. Yeah, you got to work hard. There's no way around it.
Right.
But this do what the competition's not willing to do, then what? Well, they wouldn't be willing to interview a sports psychologist who trains golfers. I interviewed a guy that's got a PhD in the politics and sport. What advice would you have? That 2.2 hours a day was, I was researching things, came across biofeedback, came across hypnotherapy, and I heard this audio hypnosis album called Skiing with the Wind, and I went, wait, they were talking about turning with finesse, and I was like, not in speed skiing.
We don't turn.
Yeah, we don't turn. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, why don't I have my mom read a script specific to speed skiing? So I got my mom's voice in a hypnotherapy program. Then I find out about something called a sensory deprivation float tank. She installs these underwater speakers. So now I've got a hypnotherapy album that's in this underwater the deep relaxation tank. I was doing things the competition hadn't remotely thought of, from the genesis of doing what the competition isn't willing to do, researching in a way the competition isn't willing to research, finding out physical things the competition isn't willing to do.
Other sports you could learn from, things like that.
Really, virtually anything that would have kind of scratched that itch of what are they not willing to do. And that's where the innovation in how to not only supersede the competition, but in this case, be ranked top 10 in the world.
That's in 2 years?
In 2 and change, yeah.
Wow.
10th in the world, World Cup. When you see your name on the World Cup thing saying 10th in the world, you got evidence that this is working.
That's working.
And then I was the only Canadian to be in the gold medal round of the Olympic Games. But I didn't have any experience with a twist of what was going to happen in that final run. So
you basically point them. How long from the top to the bottom?
About 16 to 18 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what happened in the final run?
Looking at the video now, I know. I didn't see it at the time, but there was what was a roller on that track. And to give you an idea what a track looked like, we typically build these tracks in avalanche chutes. Mm-hmm. So what was once a roller at 138 miles an hour was a speed bump. It was just like that. And my chest hit my knee. I bounced up, bounced back down. And in less time it takes you to blink, I dropped to 15th place in the Olympics. And
did you didn't crash? Did you crash?
Didn't crash.
You're talking about tenths of a second.
Thousandths of a second. Yeah. It was.
It's a groom run. I mean,
groomed.
It was all groomed.
Yeah. Man, so that was amazing. A demonstration sport in Albertville, and that was right until Barcelona. They had demonstration sports, how they introduced sports to the Olympic program. we're recording this just before the Olympics will happen in Paris, right?
Yep.
And so now what happens is the IOC goes out and figures how they're going to get eyeballs with viewership, basically, for marketing. So breakdancing is now an official.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You've seen rock climbing where they're just scooting up this mountain. That wasn't in the Olympics until, I forget now, but the last Olympics.
Golf was one, skateboarding.
Golf's not in.
No.
Skateboarding's in, yeah. Tennis is fairly new. So the IOC is going, well, we're going to pick sports we get eyeballs in. And speed skiing just was one and done. Yeah. After Lillehammer, they just wasn't going to happen.
So do you still ski today?
I haven't skied in like 15 years.
Really?
I did a lot.
You're like, if I'm not flying down at 150 miles an hour, it's boring.
Yeah.
What was top speed?
For me, officially 135 miles an hour. Yeah.
Jesus, man. And any bad injuries, falls,
Oh yeah,
crashes?
yeah.
Man, I can't imagine falling.
And at 62, they haunt you, man. I have no ACL in this leg. I just had my hip replaced. I got stitches all over I got a friction burn on my ass that looks like Africa.
Oh man, you got some
you
stories.
You want to see
it? We are running low on time, but let's see what's going on. No. Well, so what was what happened after that? Obviously you've had the entrepreneur itch since you were younger.
Well,
but
that's kind of from after the Olympics, there was an 18-month stretch where I was selling real estate. I was miserable. And a buddy of mine said, if you prove that this could work in real estate sales, you might be able to be onto something in terms of this, what you learned in sport to apply to the business world. So I went, okay. So I spent the next year selling real estate, figuring out how to enjoy it. And then I started speaking for this company of one of the original guys that was in YEO back in the day, Phil Carroll, in Calgary. He started Three Boys Houseboats. He had international investment properties. I started to speak for Phil. This philosophy of do what the competition is not willing to do, I would just call up sales managers at real estate offices, because my goal was to be a speaker at this point.
Okay.
Give speeches motivational at conferences. So I'd call up sales managers and I'd say, how would you like an Olympian to speak at when's your weekly meeting? And they go, well, Tuesday. Do you want this? We don't have a budget. That's fine. I'll do it for free. Did 100 presentations in 3 months. You do something 100 times. When you're in front of people, when you have to pitch it, you get better.
No, you're doing what the competition isn't
willing to do. There you go.
Speak for free, learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and so ended up starting speaking. It was a real slow start. Went to the National Speakers Association convention in DC in '94. And that's where I met my now wife, Michelle. At the time, we were at this conference. It was the third day. She walks up to this group of guys. I was talking to a guy who was all excited about his book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I thought that would never work. But she walks up and goes, we're going to the Red Rock Bar. Who wants to go? And I looked at her and went, I'll go. So she got back in the taxi, the big suburban taxi they had. They said, who's coming? And she said, I don't know, some albino from Canada. So we ended up having a blast, had a long distance relationship for a year. She owned a speakers bureau. I could speak anywhere, so I just packed up everything and we had a long distance we were in proximity here in Dallas for another couple of years and then got married.
It's awesome. How long have you been married?
27 years, yeah.
And 3 kids?
3 kids. They're all out of the house and making their way, and yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man. It's fun to talk about, what your daughter's doing. That's going to be really, really, really cool to see them get out of the house and become, people of their own and learn
You're gonna
from
love
their
that.
experiences.
When you get to watch that, you just wish you could be with them the whole way, but also that's our job, is to get them ready to leave, and so.
Yeah, and to have, you talked about, just to have a different level of experience than we had. We're not. You shouldn't be looking at. You maybe look back on what we did and what I taught you to learn something, but not to compare. I want you to be, doing 10 times better than I did.
We can have our plans all day long with our kids. All I wanted was a hockey player. That's all I wanted. And no, but they picked their own path, and that's fine. I'm kidding around when I said all I wanted, but at the time, I thought I had some modicum of control over their destiny, and it's like, no, they're gonna dial in on their strengths and what they're good at, what gives them energy. That's
what I wanted a golfer. We moved to the house that we moved to because Jordan Spieth grew up playing golf on there. I remember going before I got the house. I'm like, so where I want my son to grow up. And he's had a golf club in his hand since he was a little kid, but hadn't really clicked with him until, this last summer. And but then he's passionate about football, so it doesn't matter. It'll all come around. We don't have control over it.
Yeah. Nor should we really obsess about that.
Exactly. Let them do what they want to do, and you said it right. What gives them energy?
Yeah.
So so when you got an EO in '97? What was that? Who entered? I guess the question that I probably should be asking on all these shows: how'd you hear about EO, and who introduced you to EO?
Well, when Michelle and I started dating, and her last name was Lemons. She was one of the original crew with Millage Hart in Dallas. And Millage called her up and said, hey, you want to join? And this would have been about 94. Yeah, about 94. She had the International Speakers Bureau. And so she was a member from 94 on. And then...
so early, that's 30 years ago. Yeah.
So the original days.
Original deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tim McDonald was one of the original members. Trying to remember the names back then. But Millage Hart was the point person there. And she ended up being on the board. And then my business started to take off, the speaking business. I was starting to write books. And I was starting to realize, like all us entrepreneurs, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and but you can't tell anybody that. You gotta be. I got this handled.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
and then still fake it.
Yeah, and so anyway, I ended up getting my master's in organizational management, and I was going, I'm still not learning, and the inflection point for me after joining was a forum, getting in a YEO. It was YEO back in the day, and that just meant everything. You got 9 other smart people around the room that are not in competing businesses that you can bounce ideas off of. And it became very clear that I only had to practice. I was not going to make money, although I was making over $1 million a year giving speeches, and the fee went to from $2,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 to ultimately $25,000. It's still a practice until I start scaling it. And Forum has been just a massive, massive benefit to the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, and the vision, and to see other people, their experience, and there's just the combined knowledge in that room is crazy. I mean, because you've got yours, but then everyone else's experience with different perspectives, and it being a room that you can go in and, pour yourself out. Right. Good, bad, the ugly.
Right.
And sometimes the good, because you don't always have a group to share, not to brag, but to just share the joy in your life, right? Because other people may go, that guy's bragging about this and that.
They appreciate it. They know exactly what it's like,
And knowing that they truly are happy for you, and they're just your brothers, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Forums. I would think the number one benefit of EO for sure. It's been a huge impact of mine, and it's for me. It was great to be able to come and see there's other people with this disease, right?
Well, it is. It is a disease. I mean, hell, what am I thinking? How am I going to meet payroll, or what am I thinking? I got an idea. I'll do this, and Kevin Costner is an asshole because he said build it and they will come. Well, that's not how it works. Somebody has to need it or want it. And to have that ego to think I can figure this out on my own. It's just such a benefit to be in that zone, whether the highs or the lows.
Both, yes. It's a 5% of good and 5% of bad that you don't get to talk about that with anybody. So what was EO like during the late 90s, early 2000s?
Well, it's so funny. I can't imagine new members in EO today having as much fun as we had in the YEO days. It was just, we were all about the same age. We're all just rocking and rolling. You're starting to make some good coin. You've got issues, but when we had our local events, that was amazing. Just the resources we would bring in. You learn from just to guys that summited Everest, or you got somebody, an entrepreneur, gosh, I can't think of who started the restaurant chain here.
Phil Romano?
Romano, Phil Romano, but prior to him, Brinker.
Yeah.
Norm Brinker came in. Those are the early days of Mark Cuban, and he would come in and talk a bit to our group. And it's just you have to surround yourself with winners.
And I think the winners, like the reason we're able to get some of these people to speak in these old events, these once in a lifetime events, is because they reach a certain point where they want to give back, or they want to do that because it brings them energy, right? And that's, I think, is the cool thing about EO, is because we're a like-minded group of people that have the same values, that's very vulnerable. And then we go to somebody and ask them to speak, because some of the stories of who we've had come speak with us are crazy. Like, how'd you do that? I don't know. We just asked, right? We just asked for them to come and speak, and they came and did it because they wanted to. They wanted to give back, and they wanted, I think a lot comes down to energy, right? I mean, we were sitting with the owner of Crocs at dinner, right? And hearing his story and everything. And dude, awesome guy, amazing story, but you could tell like he just wanted to be around his people. Like we had a blast at that dinner, and just being able to connect with those people on those levels are amazing.
Yeah, and to see these entrepreneurs back in the day who maybe graduated to YPO or ended up selling their business, and guys that we were just hanging out with. Calvin Carter just comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Calvin was just trying to figure it out. Does this work? Does this work? Does this work? Now looking back, he nailed it with what's it called? Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
And some guys that just get hurt because of the Icarus effect, getting too close to the sun, so.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is being able to learn from that. Like being able to see
and
people,
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, people being able to, somebody going through an exit, right, and how they handled it, and how maybe somebody else handled it not so great. Right, and being able to learn from them, or any problem you can think of,
It's happening right now in our forum. A couple of our guys are looking at selling, and there's a couple guys that have been through that experience, and it's just you're not alone.
Yeah, and how to handle it, and if to do it. I mean, and one of the biggest things in our theme in our forum is have round 2 lined up, because the retirement's not going to last. Right?
No, you're going to get bored pretty quick.
Yeah, so have something lined up, because you may think the grass is greener on the other side, or you want the security of the exit, but you miss what you built after that's gone. And so have something lined up.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about your forum. So 2008 was your last a year in EO, and obviously that was a horrible time for the economy.
Everybody,
but you were in the speaking business.
I went from making $1 million a year to well under 100,000. It was brutal. I mean, the electricity was being cut off. I was having to let go of the pool guy, and we were trying to hang on to the house we had just built and run the business. Had employees at the time, and just everything had to go. Even I had to let go my YEO membership. Yeah, just couldn't afford it. I mean, I couldn't afford anything, and it was. I ended up staying with my forum. They allowed me to stay in the forum at the time, and it was. I over the years, I've seen some forum members when the shit show happens and they leave and they go, I got to go. It's too stressful. That's when you stay.
That's when you double down.
You double down. That's a great way to put it. And it just it saved me. I mean, I couldn't figure out how to swim against the current, and it took years.
Yeah, and obviously, Rogue Forum's not in the spirit of EO, but like what else are you going to do? Like, catastrophic economic situation happened, and if you can't lean into this group and lean into your forum, like, what are we doing? Right? And so you didn't leave, you doubled down, and like, what would you have done if you didn't have those 9 guys?
Yeah, well, at the time, if YEO had reached out and said, hey, we're going to waive your dues for this year or next year, whatever, something like that, would have been great. I respect that they got boundaries, and that wasn't an option, and I didn't ask. Because too proud, or
life happens.
But when you're with the band of brothers in that room, and it just made such a difference to be able to get through those low times as well together. And to this day, I'm still with the same guys. In fact, a bit of history in 2001. They created something called WEO, World Entrepreneurs Organization, because everybody was aging out that had started YEO.
Yeah.
And they're going, wait a minute, we don't want to quit this.
40?
It was 40,
okay.
yeah. And so I turned 40, and of the YEOers that I was with at the time, I was probably older by 3, 4, 5 years. So I started a WEO forum, and we're together to this day still. Same one. We call ourselves Veritas, which is
Veritas.
Truth. Yeah.
Nice. Who's in your forum?
We got Tim McDonald
is
one of the originals. Kurt Kretzinger, one of the originals.
I know Kurt Kretzinger. I was in a restaurant deal with Kurt.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah. The Cape.
The Cape. That's
remember
right.
the Cape?
I remember the Cape. I remember what an investment that was.
That was an interesting deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So good guys. We've had some guys think they're changing their focus. Dave Stone, Gary Walker, and then gathering members along the way that aren't even affiliated with EO at all, but entrepreneurs nonetheless. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's fun. It's funny to hear. I've been I think I'm 12 or 13 years, but names you just haven't. Names you just don't even know. Like I mean, and even your name, Phil Young's in my forum, and you came to an EO event, the blind golfer, and you and Gail are good friends, and so it's just fun to see all these older guys that we just don't even know.
We grew up together. We literally grew up together in business, and that's foundational to the character you have today as an entrepreneur. So,
they help develop some of those neural pathways and experiences that we came up together during very emotional times,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are you still, what's on the horizon for you?
The curse speaking? Or the disease, what did you call it?
Yeah, how's the disease doing? Yeah, it hasn't left, you haven't found a cure for it.
No, January 1st in 24, I started a new company, and it's all focused on scaling learning management systems using AI, and having these programs personalized to the individual. LMS's learning management systems are always a one-size-fits-all.
Okay.
So take the course, check off the boxes, prove that you took the course, and you get your continuing education credits, or you get something with sales training or whatever in our company. But what if these courses were personalized? Do I think it's going to work? Yeah.
Of course.
Do I know it's going to work?
Yeah. When you say personalized to
the individual.
The individual, meaning you're going to teach them the way they want to be taught?
Right.
Okay.
So the AI interprets their information with personality profiles, but also takes the information from the leadership, the company, mission, vision, values, puts that into the AI. So then the program then is adapted to exactly what the corporation wants to have, what the individual learning styles that they want to have, and then the LMS. So for example, let's say somebody's a visual learner. The AI will make sure that their learning style is or their auditory, or they need you to get to the point. Don't give you all the details. So they want voluminous details.
That's a great idea, man.
Yeah.
I think about, for sure me, the way I learn, a little different than others, but like my kids, they go to school, and everybody's kind of taught the same way.
It's all one size fits all.
How do you, and if you can understand the kid, and you can, or person, and you can teach them how they want to be taught, but more so not even how they want to be, just how their body and how their mind is programmed to be able to take information. God, how much more efficient can we be?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I think about it, wake up in the morning, just same kind of feeling that we had, 30 years ago. It's just like, ooh,
Isn't it crazy how the energy that something like that gives you?
Oh, yeah.
Makes you feel young again, makes you just gets the blood flowing, and makes you feel unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome. What's the name of the company?
Rapid Pro Dev.
Okay, so same under the same umbrella.
The methodology is called Black Diamond Coaching.
Okay.
So the concept behind Black Diamond is 90% of the population on a ski hill will look at a black diamond and go, hell no. And 10% will go, you get all giddy, right?
Yeah.
I get to do this, right? And what if everybody had that kind of giddiness that they could go through a learning management, online learning? Do you know the national average of completion rate for online learning is 6%?
Wow.
Yeah. So 94% of people don't complete a course because it doesn't give them energy. What if it was something so
that's so true. Yeah, because it drains it versus if it can just give you energy and it's the way you want to be taught.
Yeah.
And to make the analogy on the Black Diamond, like more people would go like, yeah, I'm giddy if I just had a guide. If I had somebody that would go down it the way that I want to go down it.
Yep.
Right? Like I'm not going to fly down this, but I'm going to get down it.
And you get down it and then you go, wait, what if I did this next time? What if I did this next time?
Yeah.
We're such an episodic generation right now. It's episodes. Did that make me happy now? Did I take a pill? Did I do this?
Oh, it's so, instant gratification.
Instant gratification. And sure, we can have that. We can accelerate outcomes. But in the same breath, can we feel like we're in the process of growing and get energy from that? Mm-hmm. So
from getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we were skiing, I was skiing with my son and just talking about, like, you can't control the past. You can barely control the present, right? And if you're skiing, like that bump's gone. Like you can't do anything about it. You may be able to make some slight adjustment to adjust what's right in front of you, but the only thing you can control is the path you take down the mountain. Right? And then what do you do when you get finished? You stop and you look back up, you're like, holy shit, I just did that Black Diamond. And you go back with more energy,
Yeah, and you get better at it.
You get better.
Then you have more fun at it. Then you get better at it and you get more fun at it. And pretty soon you're on that 10% going, where's the next one?
Let's go. Yeah. Imagine learning can be fun.
And imagine employees that were that kind of pumped up about, because that's the biggest thing. We've got, employee retention and employee turnover. Two of the biggest issues that I'm getting on a daily basis with all my clients right now, all of them. And so how do I get rid of that discomfort? And that's Black Diamond Coaching.
That's cool. I love it, man. Well, let me ask you this. What do you miss most about EO?
Everything. One of the things that I really look back on is when we had substantive experiences, meaning universities and doing these events. We had an event, it was a couples retreat in Punta Mita, legendary. And still in touch with these friends today, but haven't been recreating those university experiences and haven't been doing that. So I miss that the most. Yeah,
universities are epic, and they've gotten a bit, the GLC's now open to everybody, but they're bringing more people in to more have the experience. But it's just those little connections you make, all those little experiences that honestly you can't recreate. You can recreate the friends, you can create, the trip, but like the things that happen, like you just can't do it. You got to create something new.
Yeah, when I give speeches, and I've been coaching and people on how to be better speakers, experienced speakers, how to be great is what I do. And I only take 2 clients a month. I just do it as a side hustle because it's not even a hustle. I get calls all the time. I want to be an author. I want to be a speaker. What do I do? And 100% of that coaching is about creating an experience for the audience. 100% or 99% of speakers use the word I. I did this, I did this, I did this, and then I did this. And maybe you can too. And when you draw somebody into an experience, they internalize it. You never forget an experience. Yeah. And what if you took that content that's unique, that you're delivering, and Velcro that content to the experience? And so that's why I ended up being inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame with Zig Ziglar, Og Mandino, Jim Rohn. That didn't happen by accident. I did what the competition's not willing to do, right? Or the New York Times best-selling list. Did that happen? Was I lucky? No, I did what the competition's not willing to do.
And 9 books, right?
9 books now.
Wow.
Yeah, my next one I'm excited about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I may talk to you about the process of writing the book. I got an idea.
I could, there's a formula. I went to a course and I learned this formula. It takes me about 45 minutes to describe it to you. But once I give you that kind of outline, you'll just, makes it so much better of a writing experience than what we typically think.
Yeah.
Well, what am I going to write?
I describe myself, I'm a talker, not a typer. So luckily we have AI to talk into that
can interpret it.
Yeah, can interpret it. Well, awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. It was great to get to know you. I told you this is my happy place. I've heard so many great things about you through different EO members. So it was really fun to spend some time with you and learn a little bit about your journey.
Wow, Gabe, I'm so impressed you're doing this. And to me, I look back, the privilege of being around smart people like you and people that are in the game, doing the hustle, figuring it out, and we're doing it together. It's such a privilege. So being on your show here and sharing this information is a privilege too. So
well, it's been awesome. If you haven't been welcome, let me officially welcome you back into the EO family and all your older alumni that you're networked with. We want y'all back. We want to learn from you. We just want to be around our people.
That's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for the time.
All right, man.
Guys, thanks for joining us on Connecting the Journey. It's been an awesome show, getting to know Vince and just looking back at all the memories that he's had. And if you look forward, guys, the memories we're going to have 20 years down the road, this is where it all starts. So take the time to look back, slow down, see where you came from, so you move forward with a heart full of gratitude and appreciation. Thanks so much for joining us.